Hey guys, Six is here. I'm just making an update to my Necromancer tank video. Just wanted to show you about what I've been made for changes with the Ascending Tide patch and things that I've adjusted in terms of my build. Just give you guys a nice little description on things. But, I mean, might as well get started off with these sets. The first set we have adjusted towards, of course, we're still keeping the Necromancer. The enchantment doesn't necessarily matter, but what I am looking towards is changing this to decisive over defending, just because the extra ultimate generation on the Necromancer tank is always very nice. We're already the highest ultimate generation class in the game, by far still in my opinion, the best tanks overall. But yeah, I'd probably go for decisive on this. The enchantment / poisons to use, I'm still not quite sold on what to do since they don't have as much utility as they used to. I'm also running, I would change this to sturdy over infused, but it's just got a prismatic enchantment on it, which is what I would use. But this is fine too, it's not significant either way. I'm also using the perfected Yolnahkrit Ice Staff with an infused and crusher enchantment. Very handy, just so you know, we always want to make sure we have an infused crusher no matter what. Just providing that additional debuff is always necessary in my opinion. We are now using the new Nazare set. Gives us a 1-piece bonus of health and the 2-piece bonus whenever we use our ultimate. 6 of the closest enemies within 12 meters have all major debuffs and minor debuffs extended by 1 second per 20 ultimate spent. Of course, it can only affect the target once per 30 seconds, which is to be expected on that end. But the other thing that I was noticing with this set, which is pretty handy, especially as a Necromancer, which you may think, given our other set, is Turning Tide, which I have just well fitted. It's mainly just because I've been rolling in the trial a lot lately, but I would still go for sturdy overall on all pieces. But the nice thing about Turning Tide, since it does give us the 2-piece health and the 1-piece stamina, but this set does, for more or less, especially in lower end content, circumvent our need to be running the Colossus Ultimate. I will go into more what we're using instead, but since you could achieve roughly 66% uptime with this set, assuming you're getting it every single time you could proc it. The Nazare set being paired with this, if we are using the aggressive Warhorn, it makes it so that way we more or less can manage a vast majority of the uptime and major vulnerability completely on our own. And with this setup, you'll actually see a higher major vulnerability uptime within dungeons. So with this little gear setup here, which I just have prismatic on the big pieces, everything else is healthy. But for the jewelry, I'm still running healthy trait. I don't really know if I would change that necessarily. Maybe I would go infused, but at this time I'm still just rocking healthy. It's pretty comfy. You know, our heal scale off of it, so might as well. With the reduced spell cost, but you could do triune or healthy or infused. They all will give you similar results, so it's up dealer's choice here. For stats, I have changed my attributes slightly as of late, which I'm testing out doing this, which it seems to be working pretty well. I'm doing 21 points into Magicka with 43 into Stamina. None into health, as we are pretty beefy as is with this gear setup. We are running the Bewitched Sugar Skull still, along with the Atronak Mundus. And in terms of skills, our primary skill is going to be Pierce Armor for our taunt. It's always good to be able to provide about a 9k debuff, which is almost a fuck ton of damage. It's about an 18% increase to damage overall. Very good. Secondly, we are running Empowered and Grasp. With Empowering Grasp, it puts out 3 little AoEs. These AoEs do provide a minor maim towards the targets, a stun, and a CC. But the main thing that you get out of these essentially is that it's going to empower your allies. Empowering makes it so that way they deal 40% more light attack damage. last 5 seconds. And for example, Magicka Templar, they run Solar Barrage, and some classes run Magicka, well, not Magicka, Mage's Guild skill lines, just to give themselves a brief reprise, a brief aspect of what this skill itself gives. We have Silver Leash on just for our general chain pull. The kind of self-explanatory, just a chain pull, it's what it's used for. We have Hungering Scythe, as it is the best morph of this scythe. Provides you with a burst heal as well as a heal over time, and the burst heal scales per target. We are using Necrotic Potency for our ultimate generation and passive mitigation. We have Renewing Animation just for our res ult. It's our oh shit, let's recover the team button. Also, the passes from it are just fantastic, so I've kept them ever since. Especially with Bozzy hard mode, you're constantly kind of riding on the low end of healing, so it's very handy. Well, low end of health pool, I should say. Our main ultimate to be using is the Aggressive Warhorn. With Aggressive Warhorn, it will extend our Colossus if we make sure to use Turning Tide's proc right before hitting Horn. You will get both of them extended. It's always recommended to do that. It's such a great benefit to both ultimates. Essentially, like you got two ultimates that you're constantly proccing. We are also setting up with Beckoning Armor. This is a passive chain pull as well as our mitigation. This also provides us with a corpse and 15% dot mitigation, which is just, it's so fucking good. It's literally one of the best skills in the game. In terms of how much utility you can get out of a singular skill, this thing is insane. We also are set with the Overflowing Altar, which this is just going to provide a massive AoE that applies the minor lifesteal debuff. You can only proc the debuff as a heal once per second. But on top of that, having the synergy available for allies to use, that's always a great thing. It's a very powerful synergy, especially if you're ever doing Cloud Rest. It's always good to make sure you have at least 2 of these, in my opinion. Spirit Guardian, fairly cheap ability, but the main thing about it is it does provide a passive heal over time, but it generates a corpse and takes 10% of our damage for us. So it's just a free mitigation benefit. Blockade of Frost, this is purely to either A, if there's projectiles shooting out, you can use this, you can spam it to help mitigate them from your allies. But the primary use is for proccing our Crusher enchantment. Inner Rage is just for our range taunt to make sure we can just grab enemies at range. So that's primarily what it's there for. But the next little benefit we have going on is our champion points. Oh, really? I messed this up. I didn't have that. That's unfortunate. So the main 4 slottables that I typically like running is Duelist Rebuff, the Enduring Resolve, and Unassailable, and in here, the Ironclad. It's just the overall best mitigation ones, and that's primarily what we're going for as a tank. So, I mean, that one would be kind of appealing for Bulwark, but I feel the rest of these just don't really offer anything. So, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that's just kind of how it is with these things. I mean, that one last time might not be bad if you're trying to get from multi-generation, but we typically don't want to try to be that low. For our red CP, I'm running Boundless Vitality. I do enjoy the extra health, for sure. Expert Evasion, just free roll dodges. Love them. Why not? We're running Celerity, as I do enjoy the extra movement speed in general. And I will typically pair the 4th one as if I need the extra mitigation or not. If I do not need the extra mitigation, I'll usually run Spirit Mastery to help out with rezzing. But if I do want the extra mitigation, I swap over here to Bracing Acre. Free 20% block mitigation is actually crazy, and the Celerity helps offset the negative of it. If you're curious about my green CP, I typically go for Steed's Blessing, Liquid Efficiency, Rationer, and Treasure Hunter on all characters. I think those 4 are very good staples. They just kind of provide you with a nice little benefit. Nothing to lose really out of them, so I usually just go for those. But yeah, I mean, it's simple enough on that end. It's a nice quick little video for you guys, just giving you a quick rundown on what my current build is for my Necromancer tank. My favorite build by far. It's consistent. It does tons of mint like content. Haven't really found a situation that I can't do with this tank. The only thing I can say is if you don't necessarily like the attributes, you like to be a little beefier, I still like my original setup quite a bit, which is 37 health, 27 stamina. But outside of that though, I do have a top 10 video coming out today is the goal. Among a couple other things involving next patch coming out, the High Tide. I believe High Tide is what it's called. But we'll be going over that in the near future. But outside of that, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. I really appreciate you guys taking your time to come and watch the video. And if you have any other questions or any other comments you want to ask, or certain scenarios you may be struggling with or have questions regarding, leave it in the comments below and I will read them and get back to you. Thank you.